It's time for the fourth and final part in my James Bond ranking franchise. And today we'll be talking about the films of Daniel Craig, the most recent James Bond, and honestly one of the better Bonds out there. His films do have some hit and miss aspects to them, and some of them were downright bad, but overall I think he had a good run as the character. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 5 is 2008's Quantum of Solace. This is not a good movie. It has a lot of really bad pacing choices and a bad soundtrack, choppy editing, lots of shaky cam. Everything wrong with 2008 movies is present in this film. It continues the story of Casino Royale and sees Bond trying to track down the killers or the people responsible for Vesper's death from the first film. And honestly, this film is just a dud. I do like some aspects of it. I do like the opera house sequence. And I do enjoy, some of the action scenes in the film. But for the most part, it's just a completely forgettable and boring film. And despite being, I think, the shortest Bond movie, it feels like the longest. It's not all bad, though. There was a pretty cool Quantum of Solace video game release for the PS3, PS2, and Wii, as well as the 360. And this film is actually more of a continuation, more of a Casino Royale game than it is Quantum. And it's actually really enjoyable. But other than this, nothing good came out of this movie. There was a writer's strike at the time of its release, and that may have something to do with it. But the film is just kind of a dud. Coming in at number 4 is 2021's No Time to Die. This film is frustrating. There are aspects of it I actually enjoy more than Spectre, the film that came before it. But for the most part, I feel like this is a mishandled final entry. I do think Daniel Craig is doing a good job this time around. And I do like the villain as well, played by Rami Malek. But unfortunately, there's just not much else in this film that really makes me have to watch it again, every time that I'm binging the series. I mean, it's not god-awful, but I think the ending is just really ham-fisted and pointless. And while it does definitively end Craig's arc, it also is a bit of it just has a lot of strange choices in it. I don't think it's a bad movie, but definitely not one that I would have gone out on. I think Skyfall feels like a much more proper finale for the character. Coming in at number 3, and potentially controversially, is 2015's Spectre. I actually think this is a good film, and a lot of people do not like this one, and I think that's just kind of unfortunate. I think the film is actually a good continuation from Skyfall, and it feels like a nice throwback for the character. Bond, it feels like classic Bond in this movie. He fights a silent henchman. He's got a car with gadgets in it. He has his own gadgets. He travels the world, and thanks to a rights issue being cleared up, Spectre and Blofeld finally return as the enemies in this movie. It's an enjoyable film that has some dark moments, some exciting moments, some fun moments, and it feels like a classic Bond film just starring Daniel Craig. I know a lot of people don't like this one, but I have to disagree. I think it's a good movie, and one that it doesn't get proper credit. Which leads me to number 2, 2012's Skyfall. This film is incredible. It's also the third film in, yet it feels like the final Bond film for Daniel Craig. There are movies after this, but this feels like a retired, past his prime Bond, trying to go out on one last mission and save the day. It also features a really cool villain, Silva, played by Javier Bardem. Although Benicio del Toro was in a Bond film, Javier Bardem plays the villain, Silva. He's really great. He has a vengeance mission against M, and also tries to take down MI6 from the inside. This film was really fun. Has some great visuals, an amazing theme song by Adele, some awesome action throughout. It's just the best of the Daniel Craig Bond sequels, and one that I highly recommend. And in the 007 Legends video game, specifically the Wii version, it's included on the disc as part of the one of the missions in the game, and it's really fun. And that leads us to number 1, the first Daniel Craig Bond film Martin Campbell directed, who also directed GoldenEye, 2006's Casino Royale. This film is amazing. Great visuals, awesome locations, good special effects, a badass portrayal by Daniel Craig. He's the most hardcore Bond in this movie, and this is his best performance right out of the gate. The theme song is amazing by Chris Cornell. The action is nonstop. The pacing is impeccable. Ava Green plays an amazing Bond girl, possibly even the best of the series. You cannot go wrong with this movie. It gives you everything you want in a modern day Bond film, and it just does it so well. I really enjoy this film. I think the action, the spectacle, the adventure, it's all here. Anything you want in a Bond movie, this is it. And it's one that I highly recommend. And the Quantum of Solace video game, which I mentioned earlier, is actually more of a Casino Royale game than it is Quantum of Solace, because most of the missions are actually take place during that movie. Fun game, by the way. Well, that's my ranking. What's interesting about the Daniel Craig Bond films is it's actually in its own continuity. Pretty much there's only these 5 movies and nothing else, because the original 19 Bond films, or 20 rather, all have the same continuity. It's very loose, but it is there, and by the time you get to Bond, it pretty much ignores that continuity and creates its own. And that does make it a unique franchise, I think. I don't think he's the best Bond, but I don't think he's the worst either. He's about middle of the pack for me. He's definitely the most intense, I'd say. But, I think he gave a damn good run as the character. And hopefully we'll have another good Bond actor to replace him in the future. Honestly, I think Henry Cavill would be a good choice for the part. And he's the perfect age, in his mid-30s. But I suppose we'll see. This has been my ranking and my James Bond series of rankings. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if so, let me know and leave your list below. And peace out.